Buongiorno everyone, welcome back to Lineup Predictions here at the Magpie Channel TV. Tomorrow's night's game, 7:30 kickoff against Southampton at St Mary's. No TV coverage for it being a Thursday night. I'm not really too sure why. I'm actually going to put fixtures and see if there's any other games on, because you would imagine it being on at least one of the channels, wouldn't you? I don't even know who's playing tomorrow night. Prime game, Amazon Prime, Leeds and Villa. We've got Norwich and Chelsea and Wolves and Watford on no Sky TV. Not really sure why, but hey-ho, so is life. Southampton tomorrow night is going to be an interesting game, sitting in 9th place, Southampton in the league, which is good for them. They've had a very good season. Bit up and downy, but still in the top 10. I think offered them that at the start of the season, they would have been more than happy about that. But they're only 7 points ahead of where we are, which is quite interesting to see the rise we've came. Imagine, 8 weeks ago, less than that, saying that we might only be 7 points off a team in the top 10. It's pretty impressive on the rise that we've came up, but not going to be easy. They are a little bit of an interesting team, Southampton. It's been a bit of a mixed fixture over the years. I've just been having a look back. And at St Mary's, we've only actually won one game since 2005. That's 17 years against Southampton. We beat them in 2005. Since then, we only beat them in 1920 when Saint-maximin scored the only goal, the winning goal. That was the last game before COVID. I remember that. The last game before the lockdown. The Premier League was shut down. And that was the last time. Last season, we did get beat 2-0 at St Mary's. But that's not really the full story. Like, a lot of them were draws, a lot of losses, a lot of draws. And then you look at St James's, and we're unbeaten against them since 2015. So that's 7 years we haven't lost a game to them at St James's. Earlier on in the season, it was a dramatic 2-2 under Steve Bruce as well, one of the first few games of the season, where we actually played pretty well. Got done by a last second, wasn't that like a 97th minute VAR decision? Penalty went against her. James Ward-Prowse putting that home. That was a nightmare, that one was. Just going to say, I don't think it's on BT Sport, not from what I've just checked. The only game is the Leeds game on Amazon Prime. 2-1. Easy 3-1. Potential Bruno start. Rest Shelby. Saint-maximin back in. And maybe keep Kraft. That is interesting. We are going to talk a little bit about rotation. Good evening, Callum. Good evening, Aaron. Hello, everybody. Appreciate it. Hello. So that's the run-in. Bit of an up and down record for Southampton in the last 5 games as well. Lost the last game quite heavily, 4-0 against Villa at the weekend. Might bode well for us, maybe go against her. It's good to have a team that's maybe got the heads down, but they might also have that tails up. Coming off such a heavy defeat, they'll want to rectify that. But they have won 3 out of the last 5 games, beat Norwich, beat Everton, and a 3-2 win against Spurs. That was a good result, and 2-2 against Man United. So 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss in the last 5. Not a bad record. I feel like that's just Southampton. That's the story of Southampton. They are quite an inconsistent team. They can be a very, very good team, very hard to beat. And then they have games where they lose the 4-0s to Villa. Twice in the last 2 years, they've lost 9-0 in the Premier League. So very inconsistent team. So hopefully we can go there and get another win on the board like we did in the 1920 season. Who's in though? Who is out? We've got Nathan Teller is out, as well as goalkeeper Alex McCarthy. So they are out. Fraser Forster, ex-Newcastle player, has started the last 10 games in McCarthy's absence. Adam Armstrong is another ex-Newcastle player who's only got 2 goals this season after his big money move from Championship team Blackburn in the summer. Neither of those goals have come in his last 9, so he's on a bit of a barren run. Not what you would expect, not the kind of return that Southampton would have expected from him. Only 2 goals this season, not a very good return. So Shane Long is another potential striker who may be in. Not really too sure about the fitness of Shane Long or Mohamed Salisu, who I think we were after in January, maybe even in the summer. A very, very good player, Salisu. And Kyle Walker-Peters, a very good player who I'm a fan of, and El Yunusi are questionable. So there's 2 out, 2 maybes, 2 questionables. So that may bode well for them. Maybe it's a reason why they got beat so heavily off Villa at the weekend. Maybe there's a few too many key players out of this game. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I think it is going to be an interesting one. On the Newcastle front, pretty good though. No new injury worries to speak of, which is fantastic. One positive is that Matt Ritchie is back in contention. Eddie Howe did mention that last week, that he is on the verge of a return, and he is now eligible for selection. The only doubt I would say is that Saint-maximin is maybe not fully ready to go. We'll have a little look through Howe's press conference of what he said. On Saint-maximin, he said he's not 100% fit. He did 1 day of training in 3 weeks before the previous game. I remember he was very questionable last week against Brighton. Only trained on the Friday. That was his only training session. So yeah, he was a major doubt for that, but still managed to come on, play, I think, 30, 35 minutes. So might be a bit risky again if he's not 100%. But he says, we're keen to have him back at his best. I think when he came on, he did well, and I thought he gave us a lift. We're trying to build up his fitness. So maybe throwing him in at the start is a bit risky. Maybe he's not realistic with big games. Chelsea at the weekend, and then another midweek game against relegation scrapping Everton. So I think the Everton game is going to be a huge, huge game. If you're looking at the next 3 games in the space of the next 7 or 8 days, you would maybe look at Everton to be the key one. Obviously, that win we got against them last month, we were looking at that game to just close the gap and suck Everton in. That's the way we were looking at it. We were 17th at the time. I think they were about 13th, 14th, and we were thinking, if we win this game, that suckers them into a relegation scrap, which is great. Since then, we're now 14th and they're in 17th. So that's how close the Premier League is at the moment. So I would say that the Everton game is huge. It will really be to get big 3 points at Goodison next week. Southampton, an opportunity with a little bit of an inconsistent record there. And Chelsea's going to be a very, very tough game. So squad rotation, this is going to be key over the next week and a half. Eddie did mention that a few times. He did say, we'll look to make the right decisions for the team. I think with the run we've been on, I've been reluctant to change things because the team has lacked rhythm for a long time. So when you get it, you don't want to disrupt it. You want to enhance it. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in the players I'm not using. That's the key thing. I believe in them, and I believe they can all play a huge role in the future. I've just got to deal with the here and now, which has been his problem since he started, basically since some of the new signs came in January. Bruno Guimaraes only being used as an impact sub. Maxi kind of in and out. Where will that leave Murphy when Maxi's back fit? Manquillo's fit now, so where does that leave Kraft? We've got Richie banging on the door. We've got Sean Longstaff. Our captain can't get a game at the minute. So I think some of them players might have to help themselves over the next week or so. Maybe he's looking at this game, maybe looking at the Everton game, maybe even looking at the Chelsea game. You could maybe say there's a bit of a write-off with Southampton and Everton being priorities, major games in where we currently are. Obviously, you don't want to go to the game thinking, fuck it, we'll play like a B team. We'll just hide the under-23s in and just write off 3 points. It's not the way to look at it. Like, we have got rotation now. We have got options. Like, even back a few months ago, you'd be looking at the likes of Sean Longstaff and Emil Kraft and thinking, I don't want them playing that fucking shit. But at the minute, there's confidence, there's belief in the team. Like, look at where Joe Linton is now. Even Shelby before Eddie Howe came in. Like, these players are different. Ryan Fraser's playing the best football probably of his career at the minute. So there is people banging on the door. We have got to think very, very clever, a little bit tactically about where we are going to go over the next week or so with such a bit of a congested run and a few key games. What did he say? He mentioned about sticking with a winning side. I think it's a very important message. I think if the players come into the team and think that even if they perform, they'll come straight out again and there's no reward for that performance, that's something I want to try and create. Yeah, he's going to try and reward good performances like the likes of Shaw and Byrne. Like, I kind of thought once Lascelles recovered from his bout of illness, is the captain, he just comes straight back in again. But Shaw and Byrne are undroppable at the minute. Same with like Bruno, £40 million world-class signing. Can't get a sniff because of fucking Joe Willock. Like, that's it. Like, he wants to reward performances, which I think is brilliant. Those that are sitting on the bench need to wait their turn. Like, they need to wait for these kind of weeks where we are going to need to rotate a little bit. They need to wait for an injury or suspension, maybe it's a bit of fatigue, to come in and try their place. What you don't want to do is pick the same team because you've won the game, but tactically have a problem in the next game. You have to be careful not to go in blindly into the next match. We've picked the same team, but we've adapted in games because the challenges are different. And that is an important message. Like, and maybe now is the time to rotate it a little bit, because we have been rewarding players. We have been sticking with the same team, same formation for a good few weeks now. Sooner or later, it might become predictable. Maybe other teams might just watch the film of the games and just pick out what we're going to do. I know it has been changing a little bit. The tactics haven't been the same week in, week out, but the personnel and formation pretty much has. So maybe it is clever just to throw a spanner in the works a little bit, put Bruno in, put Manquillo in, or someone like that. Maybe it's Lascelles, you don't know, like, just to keep them guessing. Because, yeah, if it is the same team week in, week out, like I say, it might just become a little bit predictable. So it's going to be interesting. So this lineup prediction, we're going to get into it in a second. Going to have a look into your comments, see what you've been saying before I get into the prediction. But yeah, I will just say that it is a little bit kind of more what I would preferably do. 9 times out of 10, I will try and get myself inside the manager's head. Back when it was Brucey, it was a dark time. Didn't enjoy getting inside of Brucey's head. Eddie Howe's is a lot more fun, but the last couple of lineup predictions have been very predictable because you just don't change a winning team. 8 games unbeaten. We could make it 9. Like, you just can't change it. So lineup predictions for me has been very, very easy the last few weeks. So I am going to throw a little bit of a spanner in the works. Maybe think a little bit more about squad rotation, giving some players a chance, and just thinking with Chelsea and Everton in mind, is it worth resting some, giving some of those on the fringe a little bit of a chance? So that's my thinking anyway. So let's get into it. Let's get into your comments, I should say. Sorry. Let's see what we've got. Really hope he shut Hasenhüttl up. He fucking writes. I'd take a draw at St Mary's. Like I say, it is a bit of a tricky place to go. 1 win in 17 years there. They're in the top 10. As long as it's a well-fought point and we perform well, 9 games unbeaten, I'd more than happily take that. Like I say, Everton, pick 3 points up against Everton. If we can scrape a draw against Chelsea and pick up 5 points in the next 3 games, I'd take that. Yeah, I think we can do one better. We can maybe take 6 points, but maybe 7. But yeah, Chelsea is going to be a tough game. So as long as we keep putting points on the board, I'd take a draw. Home record is class. A draw would be decent. Yeah, John. They're with us in the top 6 form teams this year. Although I haven't actually seen the form table, but yeah, like I say, they are going to be tricky customers. So yeah, I think a draw would be a good result. It's Bruno time, baby. I think he starts this game. Maybe so, Aaron. Maybe so. I think we need to rotate the squad if we are playing away for the next 4 games. Yeah, after we've got a little bit of a break after the Everton game, thanks to Crystal Palace getting into the FA Cup quarter-final. That game's been postponed. So when we come back from that little break, we are back down in London away to Spurs. I would like to say Bruno in a midweek game. Yeah, not a bad problem to have. My players are currently playing well. No, absolutely. It's a brilliant headache. Any manager... It's a pain in the arse, but it's a mint pain in the arse to have. Like, having too many players knocking on the door. Like, we've never really had squad rotation with Steve Bruce. Like, you'd have a decent starting 11 if everybody's fit and healthy, which wasn't always the case. But then you'd be looking at the likes of Kraft, even Manquillo, Sean Longstaff, and Gale. You'd think if any of them's in the starting line, like, even Joe Linton, you'd think, oh, for fuck's sake, like, this team just isn't deep enough. Murphy as well. Like, they're the kind of players you'd be looking at going into a starting 11 and think, oh, I can't be asked to watching Steve Bruce's game with fucking Sean Longstaff, Kraft, and Joe Linton in the team. Like, it's going to be lifting this, but everybody's got the confidence now. So it's a brilliant headache for Eddie Howe. Like, people are forgetting about Federico Fernandez. He's pretty much fit now, but no way is he getting a sniff at the minute with Shaw and Byrne, and even Lascelles on the bench. Richie's going to have to fight for his spot. There's no way he's getting anywhere near Matt Target or anybody on the wing for that matter. So, yeah, it's a brilliant, brilliant problem to have. The way we're playing, I don't think it's the case of we've got more chance against Southampton than we do Chelsea. I fancy us each week now for the first time in years. Yeah, I'm not saying write the Chelsea game off, not in the slightest. Like, go into the game and try and get as many points as you can. If you can take all three, brilliant. Points in either games would be more than welcome. Yeah, it's interesting. We are in an interesting time right now. 8 games unbeaten, confident. Yeah, going into every game. Even Brighton, who we've never beaten the Premier League before, never scored a goal against them at home before. And then you go and put on a decent performance against them. 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes in the first half. Like, it's confidence that we haven't had in, I don't know, probably since the Pardew days, barring Cisse when they were on form. What did Cisse score? It was like 8 goals in 12 games or 12 in 14, something mad like that. Like, that was the last time I was confident. Like, they were going to score goals, we were going to entertain, win games, or at least pick up points. Like, what was that? That was about 2012 or one something, wasn't it? Like 9-10 year ago. Like, it's been mad journey. Save Maxi for Everton, maybe. Yes, very good shout. I have been thinking that myself. Will Bruno start any of the next 3 congested games? Yes, I believe you will. One of them. Who knows which one it will be, but I think you will do. Yeah, definitely. Fancy a 1-1 win tomorrow. That would be a very good result. I'd be happy with that. 3 points is all that matters. I want to smash them just because how much they've twisted. They're still going on about it. No, it is funny. It's funny how much like they're shitting themselves, and like Dan Burn and Chris Wood and stuff proper shitting yourselves, aren't you? I know. I haven't even spent that much money, man. Shut up. Hello, Alfie. Going to be a difficult game. Hoping Chris Wood breaks his goal drought. He's been working hard, but needs that goal. Technically, I would play Bruno Sunday. World-class midfielder against Chelsea's midfield. Very good shout. Is a possibility. So let's get into it then. Let's have a look at my lineup prediction, and we will start from the back. And there is one change that I would make. Pretty much one change in every position going forward, pretty much from me, apart from the last one, which I've been 50-50 about, but we'll get into that. And we are going to start like this. Dubravka keeps his place, as does Shah and Byrne, who are undroppable, as is Matty Target, who hopefully is going to sign a permanent deal in the summer. But Manquillo is the one that I would consider bringing in for Emil Kraft. If you've been watching the videos for a while now, you know I back Emil Kraft. He is the scapegoat. He is the one that everybody seems to love to hate, but been doing a decent job. And I feel like if we didn't have this congested fixtures, I would say keep him in. Yeah, he's been doing a decent job, but I think that is a position where, particularly over the next 3 games, we are going to have to be clever about and rotate a little bit. I think Manquillo is the better fullback out of the 2 of them, but based on form, Kraft's been decent. Can't really complain about him. So, yeah, just maybe he's with Manquillo. Definitely the better quality of the 2, I think. Like I say, Kraft will probably start at least 1 game. Same with Manquillo. You'd fancy them to start 1 game each over the next 3. Just whichever order it's in. I'm not too sure. But, yeah, that's just one change, as I say. I think rotating things a little bit, keeping the opposition guessing. Just not playing the same starting 11 week in, week out. I think it is important. I think it's tactical. I think it is a good decision just to change it up. And even if it is 1 defender, 1 midfielder, one forward player, 3 changes to the Brighton game, keep Southampton guessing. I think that is quite clever. But it's the other 3 that you don't want to drop. Shaw, Burn and Target cannot really go anywhere. Can't afford to. That's too good, too important. So if anyone's going to drop out with that back line, it's got to be Emil Kraft, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's my back 4. And in the midfield, it's Bruno time, baby. I have picked Willock as he did go off very late on in the Brighton game, holding the back of his leg. Sean Longstaff came on for just a few seconds, really, wasn't it? But it looked like maybe it's a bit of a hammy. It looked like he might have done a hamstring the way that he was holding his leg as he was limping off. Howe hasn't confirmed that. So hopefully he's all right. He has been pictured in training, so it's obviously not a serious injury. But I just think, again, it's just rotation. Doesn't deserve dropped. I think Joe Linton was superb again against Brighton. The midfield was a little bit absent, I felt, particularly in the second half. Like it wasn't the best of midfield performances from either of them. I don't think Joe Linton was the shining light among the 3, but overall, it wasn't a great midfield performance. They put themselves about. The club released like the heat map at the end of the game, so they put themselves about. They worked hard. I just think the passing in midfield was a little bit sloppy. Yeah, it just wasn't the best. And yeah, if if Willock is only maybe 99% fit, then why not bring Bruno in? I think he needs more game time in the Premier League. We should be introducing him a little bit more, as we say, with congested fixtures, keeping the opposition guessing. Why not? He is a world-class player, 40 million signing, banging on the door, waiting for his first start. I do believe it will come in the next week or two. So, yeah, why not now if Willock is carrying a little bit of a twingy hamstring? I think now's the perfect time. Bring in Bruno, baby. Bring him in. Cap Shelvey on the right and Juleton on the left. Maybe Bruno on the right-hand side. Don't know, because he can't play in various formations. I think before we signed him, I would have preferred to see him play as a bit more of a DM role with Shelvey right, Julian on left. Shelvey's been doing all right in that kind of central role, kind of like the quarterback role. And Bruno can play anywhere, really. He can be a number 6, a number 8, number 10. Like, he's like the complete midfielder. I think he will offer a lot, tracking back, winning possession, getting a tackle in, and opening up the play, forward passing. So, yeah, I'd probably like to see Bruno just sit a little bit deeper. I think he'll probably be a better defensive influence than what Shelvey will be. So that's just my personal preference. And forward, I would love to make a change here, but after I did actually have it penciled in as well. I did have a change penciled in, but after what Eddie Howe said in his press conference, I do see it being an unchanged side, just with Maximin not 100% fit. Not trying to work on his fitness, just trying to build it up a little bit. So I think a start isn't sensible. I think what we've done in the second half against Brighton, we did need an influence. And I do always say you can't pre-predict a substitute. You can't say, we're going to put him on the 70th minute. Substitutes don't work like that. But I think, particularly for the Brighton game, we did need a bit of a spark, especially in that second half. Like I said, we're a little bit lackluster in midfield. Brighton had all of the possession, threatening in the final third. So just bringing the pace and energy of Saint-maximin on, just giving them a little bit more of a forward spark, was well-timed and very welcome. Fantastic sub by Eddie Howe. I did like that. I did think that we needed that change at that time. So bang on for Eddie Howe for that change. If that was Steve Bruce, he probably wouldn't have made it until the fucking 87th minute or something like that. Way too late to make any kind of impact. So, yeah, I do like that. Eddie Howe spoke of the other lads up top in his conference this morning. Speaking of Jacob Murphy, he's a very good player. He's physically excellent, and I think you can see that from the first goal against Brighton. He created, and his pace gives you in transition. He's reliable defensively. Like I say, he can be a wing back as well, so he is defensively sound and technically good. There's a lot to like about him, and I agree. As a squad rotation player, he is a very, very fantastic option to have, and I do like Jacob Murphy a lot. But when all's said and done, if everybody's fit, is he a starting player? Is he? Maxi's the top boy. Can't really replace him. Fraser either at the minute. The likes of Almiron on getting a sniff at the minute. So, yeah. But happy to see Murphy in for now. And Chris Wood, love to see him get his first goal. Howe says he's been outstanding since he's arrived. He does a lot of things people don't necessarily see, but he's had a dramatic effect on the team. He's given us the ability to retain the ball from loads of different situations. He brings in... He brings others into play, and his technical understanding is of the highest level. Yes, he hasn't scored, but the team has performed. I can't speak highly enough of him, and I've got no thoughts about taking him out of the team. So that's him rooted in the starting 11. Then no chance for Dwight Gale at the moment, and that is right what he's saying. He's absolutely bang on. I think people are starting to see it now. In his first few games, I think people were very critical of Chris Wood because he hadn't scored a goal. But that's just looking at things on paper. You aren't looking at the brighter picture. Like, he's set up for Fraser's goal, getting Murphy away, turning his man in the middle of the park, creating a space, brilliant through ball to Murphy. With his pace, he was always winning that battle. And yeah, that created the goal. Chris Wood created that goal for Fraser. He's been outstanding in bringing players into the game. He's hold up play. Like, it's tactically, he is brilliant. We are just waiting for that goal. Once we get the goal, which I'm not concerned about at all, like I say, his performances have been brilliant. It's just the goal that's missing, and when it comes, his confidence will be sky high, and I think there'll be more to come. He's just on a bit of a bad, barren spell at the minute, but not concerned. I'm not worried about it in the slightest. I think performances will come, so that's fine. Have a look at the bench there then, and Carl Darlow, Kraft potentially to drop to the bench in place of Manquillo. We've got Lascelles there and Dummett and Sean Longstaff. Willock to potentially drop to the bench for Bruno. We've got Almiron there, Dwight Gale, and of course Alan Saint-Maximin, who I would love to see start, but probably wouldn't risk him with the likes of Chelsea in a huge game against Everton next week. Just work on his fitness, just do what we did. If we don't need him, if we're playing well and we're winning, I wouldn't even bother. Maybe it's a 10-minute run out just to keep the fitness up, but I don't know. I think the Brighton sub was very, very needed and very clever from Eddie Howe. So we'll see what we do with Saint-Maximin. We'll just play it as it comes, just see how the game goes on and introduce them when the time is right. Or if it's not, then don't. That's it for now. I'm going to come into your comments for the end of it and see what you are saying. Only person that needs dropped is Murphy. I think that's harsh. I don't think he needs dropped. Obviously, you prefer to see Saint-Maximin. If Saint-Maximin's fit, then brilliant. But would you drop him for Almiron? If he's not fit, if Saint-Maximin, if Saint-Maximin's not fit, would you drop him for Almiron or put Joe on there and keep Willock in or Sean Longstaff? I don't know. I don't think he needs dropped in the slightest. If Saint-Maximin's fit and ready to go, then fair play. But no, I'm not dropping him for the sake of bad performances. I think he's been all right. I think Bruno, full start needs to be a win. Think it might dishearten him if his first start ends or unbeaten run. Well, yeah, you can't really predict those kind of things, though. Obviously, I think he's... a bit of NFL news. His introduction will be good. Maybe save his legs for Everton. Maybe it's a bit more of a winnable game at the moment. Terrible run Everton's in at the minute. Especially news with them potentially getting a points deduction as well. They might be fucked. They might be getting definitely relegated. Maybe he's a good run out against Southampton, good run out against Chelsea, start him against Everton, where he made his actual debut off the bench. It's just a hard one to weigh up, really, isn't it? But if we lose, then that is what it is. You kind of blame Bruno. I don't think he'll be disheartened if he starts and we'll lose a game unbeaten spell. I think it'll be a collective team thing. I'm sure he'll try his best. So yeah, he shouldn't be too disheartened by it. Manquillo in for Kraft, Bruno in for Shelvey for me against Southampton. I think Murphy starts this game with Maxi having only one training session. Bring him on second half if it isn't going well. Yeah, bang on, Aaron. The cutout picture of Dan Burn makes Joe Linton cutout look about 4 foot tall. Does it? I haven't even noticed that. Let's have a little look. Dan Burn is a unit, though. I think Target looks a bit smaller. Might need to re-edit them and try and get them a little bit more sizable. But I think I've just maybe put Joe Linton in a little bit smaller. I think I could maybe just extend them a little bit there. But thanks for pointing that out. Might have to do a little bit of work in the studio. Let's get back to that. Looking forward to Sunday game against Chelsea. Is Burn done a job in keeping Lukaku quiet when he played for Brighton? Yeah, I think it will be a good game. Yeah, I think the confidence that we're on at the minute, especially if we get a win against Southampton, I think keeping the unbeaten run is important. A point on the board, I think, will be brilliant. But if we get the win, if we get another 3 points on the board going into Stamford Bridge, confidence will be sky high. But yeah, Chelsea's probably going to be the first big test since the draw against Man United right at the beginning. I think that was the start of the unbeaten spell, wasn't it? I think we maybe lost the week before that. Can't remember who to, but it was the first or second game of this unbeaten run so far. But yeah, everything else has kind of been kind of mid-table to apart from West Ham. Let's have a look, actually. Who have we put in the top half? Just going to pull the table up. West Ham, Southampton, Villa in the bottom half, Brighton, Brentford, Leeds, Everton, and Watford and Norwich. So most of them are bottom half teams, apart from West Ham. So yeah, Southampton, it will be a tricky game. But yeah, I think Villa, Chelsea will be a huge game, a big test for. We'll see what the squad's actually about. And keep the unbeaten run alive. Hello, Alfie. Hello again. I don't think it was a good idea to tell the players who we don't want to find another club when we may still need them to play until we're safe. I don't know about that. I don't know who we've told to find a new club. Yeah, I don't know. Out of fit players, that's the strongest lineup there, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you, John. Manquillo is second to Trips, so should be there if he's fit. Yeah, he is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think in order, our right back depth chart is Trippier top, Manquillo second, and Kraft third. But unfortunately, Manquillo picked up an injury the same game as Trippier, and based on form, Kraft has been good. So yeah, it is hard to drop someone. It's kind of the same as Bruno not being able to get a game ahead of the likes of Willock and Shelvey. Can't really put someone out who's in good form, but yeah, I think just to rotate a little bit, just to keep legs fresh. And Manquillo definitely is the better option at right back. So yeah, I think it is a clever thing to do. Do a job against Lukaku. Willock has to start. Yeah, I can't disagree. My just thinking is just watching him hold his hamstring as he limped off the other day, and just a little bit of rotation just to try and bring Bruno into the game. I know everyone would probably say Shelvey, drop Shelvey, but at the minute he's got the captain's armband in the absence of Lascelles and Trippier. Not many other leaders. You'd probably like to say it'd be given to Dan Burn maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's a tricky one. Yeah, I don't. I'd say they all have to start. Willock, Shelvey, and Joelinton if fully fit. But again, we'll talk about the squad and rotation, how important it is. And yeah, hopefully we can bring Bruno in. As I mentioned, it might not be this week or this game anyway. It might be Chelsea on Sunday or Everton midweek next week. But yeah, I do fancy him to start one of these games. Maybe Everton is the smartest one and just give Bruno a little bit of a run out and keep Willock in if he is 100%. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see about that one. You didn't see the battle with Burn and Lukaku. Burn ragdolled Lukaku in that game. That's my strongest 11 and Maxi is fully fit. Yeah, 100% agree. Tough to say who gets dropped for Bruno, but I think Willock on the bench is the right way to go. Yeah, like I say, it's only because I see him clutching his hamstring. Other than that, it would be tough. I'd maybe consider Shelvey, but as I say, he's the captain, and Joelinton's probably being the better of the three. So out of them three, it's clutching at straws a bit, and it's very, very fine margins. But you probably would look at Willock as potentially not. I don't want to say the weak link because he's got like 2 goals in the last 3 games now after Brighton. But yeah, I think it's just a tough one, and I think it's imagine the headache of us talking about it, me trying to do a lineup prediction. Eddie Howe's actually playing the real game. He ain't playing no lineup predictions. He's not playing champ man. He's playing the real game. He's putting wins on the board. Like, it's important for Eddie Howe to get this team right. So yeah, I can't imagine the headache he's having. Yeah, I reckon Bruno will send Prowse to the cleaners. I hope so. That'd be brilliant. You got the lineup I want to see. Reston Willock, very good idea. Kraft is not my cup of tea, and Maxi is made of paper. He is, unfortunately. Probably for the first time in years, I don't really question lineups anymore. I seem to have complete faith in it. Yeah, I'm the same. That's why predicting it is difficult, because in all honesty, I don't really care. I completely believe in what Eddie Howe's doing. I think whichever team he picks, if he does decide to bring Lascelles back in for a game or plays Maxi maybe when he's not fully fit, trust the process. Completely trust the process. So we'll see what happens. Keep the same team for Southampton because it's winnable, and stick Bruno in against Chelsea. Good option. Could do that. Say this every week. 2-1. Would to score the last. Yeah. I hope he does. Yeah. I think it'd be brilliant to see him get off the deadlock. Would you take a draw against Southampton? Yes, I would. I think it would be a very good result. Keeping another point on the board, keeping away from the relegation zone, keeping the unbeaten run alive, going into Chelsea and Everton. I think it'd be very important. Yeah. Willock came off the exact same way, holding his leg the game before us. Did he? Was that Brentford? I think he did. Yeah, he came off quite early, didn't he? That's why Bruno came on. I reckon when Howe eventually drops one of the midfield 3 for Bruno, it will be Willock. I'm just basing that one who gets subbed for Bruno's cameo appearances. Right. That'll do for me. Got things to do. Thank you very much for everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the Magpie Channel TV. If you haven't already, what you're doing, we need to get these subscriptions going up. Make sure you like the video. Pop your comments in the comment section below. Let me see your lineup prediction and your score prediction. I think I'm going to go with John and say 2-1 win for Newcastle as well, although I think A 1-1 or another 2-1 like it was at St. James's earlier in the season will be very respectable. A couple of goals on the score sheet, that'll be important. Another point on the board, very important. So, yeah, we'll see how it comes. So, safe travels to everyone traveling all that way tomorrow. Be much appreciated. Up the mags. Thank you very much and enjoy your stay.